So we discuss about this system console, that is our web console. So here, basically we see all our bundles, and our bundles should be in active state. We can manually stop them and start them whenever we want it, but it all depends whether if we do not want any bundle, for sure we can stop them, but carefully it should be done. It like any uh, like out of box AEM provided bundle should not be stopped, because in case if you like mistakenly stop any necessary or required bundle, then it can lead to issues. So let me start that our this bundle, sample bundle again. So now you can see it's in active state back again.
Yeah.
Okay. So firstly, let's talk about the technology stack. What all is there, and then we will touch base upon the different thing, different streams, and also we discuss a bit about CRXD Lite in the last meeting. Today we will more discuss about this, and then we will start working with our code base. Okay, so let's start with the technology stack of AEM. Okay, so here here last time also when we were working on when we created our project over here, the code base over here in the sample, then inside the code here we realize that okay, inside the code for all our Java files ultimately a jar gets created, and I said that day as well that it's not a jar but it's a bundle. Why do we call it a bundle, and what is the difference between a bundle and a jar? So basically in AEM we do not use or we do not create jars, but we create bundles. So bundles is nothing but jar. So it's a jar only, but internally it contains one additional file which makes it a bundle. So that additional file is meta.inf, meta.inf, manifest.mf. So we call it as manifest.mf or meta.inf file. So this manifest.mf is nothing but which contains information about the jar. So the jar plus manifest.mf file is equal to bundle. So bundle is nothing but a jar, but it also has one additional file, that is manifest.mf. What this manifest.mf is, it is metadata about the jar. So basically it contains the information about the jar. So if I have this jar, I have this JDGUI tool, which is a decompiler through which you can see the code inside your jar. So if I tries to open this bundle, here you will see it is basically a jar only. But if I go inside this meta.nf, you will see this manifest.mf file. This manifest.mf file is nothing but it contains the information about the jar. That okay, which all packages are being exported by this bundle or this jar. What all packages are being required for this bundle to work. Okay. Other things like bundle name, bundle symbolic name, bundle version, and the Java version that it is using, the Maven, everything, basically the information about the jar. So this manifest.mf is nothing but metadata about jar. Data about jar. Okay. So in AEM, we make the use of bundles, and those are not jars, and all those bundles sits in our, or we can see actually those from our this web console, that is system console. Okay. Now this was the first technology stack. AEM makes the use of these bundles. Now where does this bundle actually sits inside AEM? So like in Java, we have the servlet concept, and servlets are stored inside container. Similarly, there is a container in AEM as well, because AEM also has server within it. So AEM actually makes the use of OSGi container. So here this container where our bundle sits is the OSGi container, and within this OSGi container all our bundle sits. Okay, so this is our OSGi. where all our bundle sits. And the third and the most important technology stack of AEM is, so basically we also call it as Felix container. So basically this is also our Felix container where our bundle sits. And the third is our Sling. So Sling is the third and the most important technology stack of AEM, and the work of Sling is resource resolution. So to understand what is Sling, let me just open a page in AEM.
So OSGi is like a server, right?
Yes. So basically it's a container.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have containerized system, like, so it's similarly like a container. It's a container for AEM. Like we have container which holds our servlets. Similarly, like Kubernetes, they work on container. Similarly, it's a container which contains or which holds or which holds all our bundles.
And then like bundles, each bundle is a part of the code, right? It's like a snapshot of the code at any given time, right?
Yes, exactly. So
Okay.
bundle is basically the compiled version of all our code base. So it's a snapshot of our code base at a particular time. So
Hmm.
each time whenever we build our code, what is preferred is that we should keep incrementing the version of our code. So like if I go over here inside the sample code base, and if I open this POM, inside my POM, here is my version. Like this is my version, this is my major version, and this is my minor version of my code base. So always what is preferable. So see, my version is 1.0 minus snapshot. And if you see over here, the sample version is a sample project. It also has the same version 100 snapshot.
Mm-hmm.
So from here, the version number got decided, and always it is said that with every build, your version should get incremented. So this major version should remain the same, but this minor version should get incremented. And like when you are doing some major deployment, some major release, then you should increment your major version.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So here if I open any page, if I open this page, mens.html, so see how AEM gets to know that, okay, if you will hit this URL on your browser, then behind the scene, there is a resource sitting in AEM and that should be accessed. Like you just showed me that in the browser, when you were sharing your screen, in the browser, you hit that URL with model.html and ultimately it called you that Sling model. So how does AEM resolve this URL to the resource that sits within AEM? So that resolution in AEM is being done with the help of Sling.
Mm-hmm.
So Sling is a technology, or you can say Sling is a framework which basically does this resource resolution.
Mm-hmm.
The mapping of URL to the resource within AEM. So see, the resource within AEM is this. Where is this resource sitting? So here, somewhere within the AEM repository, this resource is sitting. So if I open this resource is sitting over here. Inside the content, here is the resource, it is sitting. So how does AEM gets to know that when I access this URL, there is a resource within the repository of AEM? This mapping of URL to resource in AEM is done with the help of Sling. So Sling does the resource resolution. That is why I put it RR. Here it will do the resource resolution.
Yeah.
So bundles is the core. Bundle is our nothing but jar plus manifest. Manifest is data about the jar. So manifest MF plus jar is our bundle. Sling, which does our resource resolution, and then we have our Felix container or OSGi container, which will hold our code base. Okay. We have our Java content repository. Java content repository. Okay, this is another important thing. So JCR all the data in AEM is stored in a repository which we call it as Java Content Repository, JCR. So here you can see, ultimately I showed you it was stored somewhere over here. I showed you, like in AEM, I went inside here, inside the CRX extent. Here we have the repository where it is stored in the form of tars, but ultimately means, of course, it is stored in the form of tars, but the repository in which the data is stored, we call it as Java Content Repository, that is JCR. So when we have to insert some data in AEM, or whenever we have to read some data in AEM, then the CRUD operations like the create, read, update, delete, the CRUD operations in AEM are being performed on JCR, that is Java Content Repository. In AEM, the repository is called as JCR, Java Content Repository, where the data is stored. Like maybe in the other applications, in simple Java application, we use some database to retrieve our database, to retrieve our data. Maybe a relational database or MongoDB, anything. In AEM, we use the inbuilt JCR, Java Content Repository, where all our data is stored. And it is stored, as you know, and you can see, the data is stored in the hierarchical way, where it has a parent to child relationship, and each node or each resource, like here, this node, either we call it as a node or either we call it as a resource, would have a parent and would have a set of children, and each node or resource would have a set of properties. So if I click on this men's node or men's node or men's resource, then it has some properties which has a key and value. Okay, so that's how the data is being stored within AEM, which is called as Java Content Repository. Okay, any questions, any doubts on this?
So far, okay.
Okay, that's yeah. So we discussed about JCR, Sling, that is our resource resolution. Then we discussed about bundles and our container, Felix container. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so here what I prefer using is this IntelliJ. It is a very powerful tool. Here you can easily integrate with other plugins, and like also you can directly communicate with your AEM, and Git. Everything can be easily integrated, so it's a good tool. You are using IntelliJ. In case if you're using Eclipse, then that is also good, but it's all, whichever you want to use, you can use that. Like here in my IntelliJ, I can include my project that I created by just going into new and module from existing source, and here I can select the module which I wanted to select. So here I have my whole sample project. Okay, so create a module from yes. Okay, Maven, I will select because it's a Maven project. Okay, okay. Sorry. Just a minute. Okay, let me just finish. This way, I am including the sample project into my IntelliJ. Simple, new, and just selecting the module. See, I could have selected. I could have made it as a other project. In that case, it could have opened in a separate window altogether, new IntelliJ window. So I just included in one of the existing. Like there was a Teams project already, and then I included this sample project. Okay. So here I have all my modules, core, this all core dispatcher we can ignore, and like front end also we can ignore. And here we have our form. Okay. Pretty simple. Let's see some of the basic authoring things in AEM, and then we will start with the componenting. So we discussed about this. We discussed about code-based deployment. We already discussed how will you deploy, which all commands we will use, auto install by using the necessary profile. In case if you face any issue while knowing like what is after -p, like maven clean install -p, then see the best thing is that you can go to this readme.md. Every project would have this readme.md, and here they have mentioned, or here like you would be having all the necessary commands for your AEM to be build and deploy. So here you can see to build all the modules, you can run maven clean install. If you are running an AEM instance, you can build and package the whole project and deploy into AEM with maven clean install -p auto install package. -p is again the profile, and those profile would be the code for those profile, or the steps for those profile would be mentioned inside the pom.xml, either the parent or inside the UI apps. Okay. Then to deploy it on publish instance. See, important thing. Now this was to only deploy on the author instance. To deploy on the publisher instance, so you can use this command, auto install package publish, or alternatively you can provide the port. See how currently we like I just ran this command auto install package with this profile, and how does AEM gets to know that okay, I have to deploy on the port 4502 because my author is running on 4502, and we were able to successfully install the sample project. Yeah, here you can see our sample project was successfully installed. So how by using this command, our AEM gets to know that okay, it has to deploy on the port 4502 running on local host. So in the pom.xml, if you would see, there are some properties. Like let me firstly show you the profile, and then I will show you that auto install. Yeah, auto install package. So if you see this profile, what it is doing is it is using some command, some vault command. So vault is nothing but a tool that actually helps us in communicating between our drive to AEM server. So communication, packaging, and sending the code and content back and forth to and fro from your drive to AEM and AEM to drive is being done by a vault tool. So this vault tool, we use the plugin for that within our POM. And if you would see here, what we did is that the target URL is this HTTP AEM host, AEM port, and now the CRX pack manager screen. So somewhere, so in this package manager, the zip should get installed, and what should be the host and port? These are the host and port. These are dynamic variables, and its values are being defined on the top. So you can see the values are defined over here. So in case if your author and your publisher are running on an port other than 4502 and 4503, then better is that you should change those values over here.
Yeah.
Like, okay, because all your while deploying, while reading all at all the places, this is the port, and for author and publisher, it is read from here. Okay. And similarly, if you want to see the profile for this auto install package publish, so here in the pom.xml only, the profile here you can see, here is the profile. It would be deploying your code into AEM publish port and AEM publish host and AEM publish port. Okay. So AEM actually by default, in case if you even if you do not provide any port, then also it will start by itself on the port 4502, the author instance. Okay. Because the first preference for AEM, there is a preference wise for ports. So the first port that AEM looks for, or in case if you do not provide, then it's 4502. If you provide this port, then it's best. In case if you do not provide it, then by default the first preference is 4502. In case if 4502 is already taken, then there is another list of set of code which then AEM prefers to look and starts on that port. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this README file is sometimes is very useful in the beginning in case if you want to see all the commands that are coming in. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's okay. Now one important another thing over here. So we did deploy our code on author instance, but we still have to deploy our code on publisher instance. So to deploy our code on publisher instance, what I will use is, sorry, no, sorry, just a minute. It's my command wrong. Yeah. So auto install bundle, auto install package, sorry, package publish. I hope this is the correct command, auto install package publish. So if I will run this command, the code will get deployed on the port 4503 localhost 4503. Okay. Okay. So it will take its own time. Till then it's okay. We do not need to worry. It will deploy the code on publisher. Yeah. So till then, let's start with the other things. So here on author, let me just show you some of the authoring things. Okay. So see, this is editor.html. You would see whenever you start and edit this page, then it opens in the editor.html. Here between this URL after the host port and between the URL and like before the URL, there is this text editor.html comes. So this editor.html is necessary in case if you want to edit on author mode. So for editing this text should be there as part of your URL. Okay. So if I see, I told you that what you do is firstly you create the content, then you preview the content, and then you give a printout. So how you give the printout, or basically how you preview, how you give the publish or transfer the content is by going over here, publish. But there is a step in the middle as well, that is to preview the page before giving the printout. So here is the preview. So in case if you want to see on author how your page is going to look like before giving the publish command, then just click over here. You can see now you cannot edit, and you would be able to see how the things are going to occur. In the same way, like we have this publish. Let me go back to edit back again. Okay, and here also these within these three dots you have this view as publish. This is another mode in which you can see how the page is going to look on the publisher instance. So if I click over here, it will take you another tab, and here you can see it appended this URL WCM mode is equal to disabled. And here you can see actually again you can see like similarly like the like this icon preview. Here also you can see how the page is actually exactly going to look like on author on publisher instance. So if you want to end-to-end test the thing that okay how your page or is going to look like on the publisher, best is that you use this thing $WCM mode disabled. Okay.
Yeah.
This way it will give you the page of how it will look like on publisher instance. Okay. This was preview. This is edit. Okay. This is layout. So layout is how your page will look like on different devices. So here AEM gives you an option that okay, you have designed your page, you have designed your CSS, JS, everything, and you wanted to see how the things will look like on other different devices. So to check the responsiveness of your page, you can go to this layout and then you can select that okay, oh, your page on this iPad and Galaxy iPhone is going to look like in this way. Okay. So layout is this for this. Then you have developer. Developer is important. Developer is basically helps you identify the time being taken to load this page. Here you can see I clicked on the developer and gave me the whole time taken by the page. So this is the whole time taken by the page, and between that, the time taken by each and every component that are there on the page is over here. So the addition of all these will give you this time. Okay. So in case if you face the issue that okay, your page is consuming a lot of time, let me go out of this layout mode by just clicking over here again. Okay, desktop mode. Yeah. So desktop. Yeah. So here, yeah. So here, the developer mode actually tells you the time being taken by IDEO, right? The whole page and each and every component. So in case if you are facing some performance issue, so this tab or this developer console or this developer thing is helpful to know how much time every component is taking, and then you can dig that okay, oh, this component is taking huge time. Then further you can analyze why it is taking so much of time. Okay. I will tell you about this copy thing, and targeting is not important. I will tell you about this time wrap and live copy status, this thing later. When we will cover these topics, then I will tell you. The editor, layout, and developer I told you. Plus over here, okay. So this open properties, okay. When we will cover the templates, then I will tell you. Start workflow. When we will discuss about workflow, I will tell you. When we will discuss about what is the purpose of workflow, how you create a workflow, and how you start a workflow on a page and all. So at that time I will discuss this whole workflow thing then. Okay. Below that we have the log page. This is pretty important. So CM guys like who are authoring the page, they actually what they tend to do is they make their changes and then maybe they have to get it approved, or it may take some time for them to complete editing on the page. So between that time, to prevent anyone else from editing the same page, what authors or what anyone can do is they can go over here and they can log the page. So like I am logged in as an admin user for now. I was admin user, and what I did is I logged this page. So here you can see that there is a log icon coming up. So in case if there is, like consider I as my user, I logged into this console, into this instance and into this page, and then I log this page so that I do not want anyone else to edit this page. Now this page can only be unlocked by me who logged the page or by the admin user. So admin user has all the privileges. Every privilege is held by admin user. Okay. In case if someone is not able to do any functionality or they have a restriction of accessing anything, it has to be resolved by admin user, because admin user will have each and every rights is being held by admin user. Okay. So now if you are done, like consider I am done with my work, I can unlock it by just going over here and unlock this page. So currently you currently lock this page which prevent others from editing. So to unlock, just click over here, unlock. So now it's unlocked. So anyone else who is coming can perform their editing and their modification. Of course, anyone else, when the page is locked, they can come and see the page, but they cannot modify it. So modification updation is prevented while the page is locked. Okay. So like we have published, similar way we can unpublish the page. So in case if we want to remove the page from publisher, only from publisher, like consider this men's page is there. And if you do not want this page to appear on publisher, you want to, like this page consider is stale, obsolete, and you do not want end user to see this page. So what you can do is you can unpublish this page. So this way, the page is still going to remain on author, but will get removed from publisher or basically deleted from publisher instance. Okay. Edit template we will discuss when we will go to the template thing. View as published I view as published, I already discussed with you. View in admin is nothing, but it will take you to this console. Like if I click on view in admin, so this page is something, it will take you again to this console. Like see, here it also took me to this console. Okay. Any questions, any doubts?
So far it's okay. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. That's great. And help is nothing, but it will give you an information about what all things are there, how you can author, like it gives you tool tips, all these, how you can navigate and all these things. Like for beginners, this is useful to see what all functionalities are there and how you can perform navigation and how you start using this AEM. Okay. So a bit about this was a bit about authoring. Let me just go back, okay, over here and let me go. Yeah. Okay, so let me briefly tell you some of the links. We discussed about sites and assets. Experience fragment, I will tell you later. So once I will tell you, then only I will cover this experience fragment link. So experience fragment, let me give you a brief idea about this experience fragment, but of course later we will cover it completely. So see, why do we create components in AEM? To perform reusability. So like consider we have a website, NetWest, West Bank. Okay. So this is a banking website. Okay. So here we have, okay, just for a timing I want. So here we know that, okay, this part, if it's in built in AEM, so okay, some component would be used over here to create this part of the website. Now, if I scroll down again, you can see the same lookout, same image, and below that there is a text like over here. Here we have images, and below that we have text. Now, of course, the same components are being used at multiple places. So the same component would be used over here, and the same component would be used below. It's just that the images and text are different that we can make. Then we can make configurable as part of our component. Now, so basically what we understood is that components are reusable set of code which once created can be used at multiple places to display or to display that content on that part of the page. So it's reusable code. So from code, the reusability is achieved using component, and from content, reusability is achieved using experience fragments. Okay. So in case authors see that, okay, there is some part of the page maybe which needs to be created by using collection of components. Like consider again on the NetBase, this website, consider this explore our product, and below that you have image and then some text, and then maybe this text. You see authors or CM team recognize that, okay, this part of the page which is made using 2 or 3 components, this same content, exactly same content, has to be created on 10 or 20 pages. Now, of course, it would be very tedious task for the authors to create the same content on all the 10 or 20 pages. So that is why, to overcome this problem, to reduce the redundancy of content, this experience fragment has been used. So experience fragment is nothing but pages only where you can create your content by using collection of component, and then you can refer, or you can refer exactly those experience fragment or those pages. Basically we call it as experience fragment. So those experience fragment on all the 10 or 20 pages wherever you want. So this way it helps us in achieving redundancy of content. Okay. We have forms. Forms is to
One
create
question,
adaptive.
sorry, sorry, one question.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like say we create like components with a content inside the experience fragment, and then we can use that whole thing like in different pages, right?
Yes, exactly. So by
Uh,
using, maybe by using collection of components, you create some content, and that content then you can use on number of pages.
okay, all right.
Okay, so reusability of content. Now that content once created within this experience fragment can now be referred or can be used on a number of pages. Okay.
Okay.
Now this forms is where we create our adaptive form. So in AEM, as we know, everything is components. So here for create forms also, we use components. So like in simple HTML form, what we use is we create the form from tag, and within that we have the action attribute, and then between the form start and form end tag, what we have is the like input type text or input type radio, input type checkbox, all those things. So those are static HTML forms. Now AEM makes the use of adaptive forms. So in adaptive forms, to place a text field, to have a text field in a form, you do not write HTML, but you make the use of components. So there will be one text field component, and then the same text field component would be used at all the places wherever we want the text field to be displayed. Okay. So forms again in AEM is built using components only, and these forms are is what we call it as adaptive. Okay.
Okay.
Here we create our adaptive form. So below icons are out of scope, so we won't be discussing this. If I go to the hammer icon, so here all the configuration and all the main work is being done. I would prefer going to these important links or the links that are needed. The time we will actually get to. You see here we have the workflow, and then we have a lot of options. So once we will cover workflow, then we will discuss about all these things. Operations, again, like when we will discuss the troubleshooting, then we will discuss about these, like logging and troubleshooting, then we will discuss. So by the time we will go, we will discuss more about these. Deployment we have discussed, like replication. Okay, just one thing, like here we have the packages. So here it will again take us to the package manager screen. Here you can see. Okay, and this thing is, let me just close this. This thing distribution is again replication only. See, here we have replication, here we have distribution. So distribution is again replication only, but on Adobe as a cloud, which is after 6.5, we have Adobe as a cloud that we discussed in our first session. It's not replication that publish or that transfer or that migrate our pages, but the publishing of pages is being done with the help of distribution. So here, the agent way is not worked anymore, or agents are not responsible, but it's a queue model, queue sort of way. Here, like I tell you, I give you a brief idea. It's just simple. Like for replication, it was the responsibility of the agents on author to publish the page or publish the content on all the publishers. So in case if there are 3 publishers, so we need to have 3 agents. But in with on Adobe as a cloud, which follows the distribution model, so here it's a pub sub mechanism. So all the publishers who have subscribed to receive the notification, they will have to subscribe, or they only will receive the published content. So it is now not the responsibility of authors to make sure that the content has been replicated to all the publishers, but it is the responsibility of publishers to subscribe so that they should receive the published content. So behind the scenes, see, from our point of view, nothing has been changed. It's just the terminology. that from replication it is now distribution, but behind the scene, the way in which it works, it has been changed. So prior it was the responsibility of agents, and agents on author were responsible for making sure that the content get migrated. But now going forward in distribution, it is the responsibility of publishers, so that they should subscribe and receive the notification or receive the updated content.
Okay. It's like the cloud things like SNS and those kind of things, right?
Yes, the cloud, Adobe Cloud. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Okay. Let's discuss about the security. Here we will create our users and our groups. So let's briefly, quickly create a user and create a group and assign a user in a group, and then we will give a permissions to that group, so that, yeah. Okay. So let me create a user. Let me use the username as sample user. Okay, pretty simple. So what I did is I went inside the user and I clicked on create to create any new user. So I told you from the CRXG perspective, where our users and groups are below the home hierarchy. So below the home hierarchy are the users stored. So in case if I create a new user like sample user, okay, and let me give it a password sample. Okay, 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 and let me just let's give a first name sample, and
Actually, like system user or
no, these are simple users, not
oh,
system users. So system users you have to create through code. From code, you can create system user, or there is another way through which you can get system user. So system user has a different purpose.
mm,
They have altogether a different purpose of creation.
okay.
Okay. Are you aware what is the purpose of using system users?
System users, I actually like I create for authors in our company, like yeah, and then like say one more purpose also, like we have this workflow that it gets the like Excel file and it create like resource out of that Excel. So it somehow we need to create a system user. So and then introduce it in the Sling mapping things. Yeah, I don't remember actually. Yeah, something
Yeah,
like that.
service user mapping.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you that one also. Maybe when we go to workflow, then I'll ask.
Okay. No, it's not related to workflow. I tell you what is the purpose of system user. So see, in AEM, while we are executing code, the code is executed by default as the user you are logged in. So here, if you see that I'm logged in as an admin user. So if
Yes.
I'm performing any function, here I'm performing any function, then I will be performing with the privileges of admin user. Okay, so admin users has all the privileges like create, deletion, and all. So in case of any code that is getting executed, that will get the default privileges of the user who has logged in. So as of now, consider I am an admin user over here, and I have the privileges on all the nodes. So in case if any operation is taking place, which is writing some properties on this etc node, somewhere in the etc design node. Okay,
Yeah.
so since I am an admin user, so of course I have a privilege to write over here.
Mm.
But consider instead of this admin user, I am logged in as some other user, like sample user. And sample user consider does not have the rights to, to perform the write operation on this design node. So when the code will be executed, when I'm logged in as the sample user, it will take the privilege of that sample user. And since sample user does not have the privileges to write on this design node, so the code will fail.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, where does service user comes into picture? Now, to answer this, see, this is the story of our author instance where we can log in either as an admin or as a particular user. But what about publisher instance? On publisher instance, we do not log in because the end user, of course, does not has any user ID associated with it.
Yes.
Any user can come and can hit our website.
Yeah.
So during that time, when our code will be executed, what privileges it will get? Okay,
Yeah.
that time there is a default user that comes out of box with AEM that is called as anonymous user. So any user, end user that lands on our website, they by default get the privileges of anonymous user. And when the code execute, it will take the privileges of anonymous user and accordingly it will perform the operations. Okay. Now consider that that anonymous user of course does not has the privileges to write something in our CRXD because in case if the anonymous user would have some privileges, then any end user can come and can write anything, can do anything on in our repository. That is of course a vulnerability. Of course, that is not allowed.
Mhm.
So in case if we want to perform some write operation in our JCR Java Content Repository or basically our repository, for that since anonymous user cannot perform any write operation, so that is why we create a service user and then we assign some privileges to that service user and then we execute the code by reading the privileges of that service user.
Mhm.
In that case, if the code will be executed, then it will take the privileges of
Where
the
is that?
service user. Yeah,
Mm.
for that time. Exactly, for that time.
Yeah. They call it service user or system user.
It's either you can call it a service user or system user. Both are same thing.
Mm. Okay. Like now it's, for example, for us it's calling like data, for example, and then in the code it's referring to that actually. Like yeah, I can.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are not getting service user or system user. These are simple users of how like the way they will log in into the sites and how we assign the permissions and privileges to the user. So here we create a sample user, we assign the password to them and it's pretty simple. Let me save it. Yeah, you can see my user is created. And now if I go back again, so this is a system user that has been created. Now if I go back to security and then groups. Now a group can have is a collection of users or a collection of groups as well. So a group can have multiple child groups as well. So what is the purpose of group is that in case if you have hundreds of users and you have to assign privileges to hundred of users, it's not necessary that you go to each and in every 100 user and you assign the privileges to each one of them. But what you do is you assign the privilege to a group and then make all those 100 users as the child of that group. So any permission changes, any privileges changes that is being assigned to to that group will automatically get assigned to all the users within that group. So that is the purpose why we create groups in AEM. Okay, so like if I create a sample group, it's pretty simple. And I gave it a name and also I can give it a name over here. I give it an ID and here is the members option. So which all will be the child users or child groups for this new group that we are creating. So to give the child uh, user, then the user that we created was the sample user. So here you can see the sample user automatically came up. And let me just save it over here. Okay. So the new user, so the new group has been created with the name sample group. Now we have our user created and we have our group created. Now we can assign the privileges to either that user or to that whole group so that all the users within that group will get the same privilege. So here you can search the user or you can even search the group. Like if I search the group, that was sample group. Yeah, here I have the sample group and it is saying one member. So as of now, you can see where this group has been created. It has been created at this path, home groups W within this. So if I go inside the CRXD, just let me refresh this home hierarchy and home group and then W and okay, you can see here is our sample group. And within this, if you would see, it would have a child that is sample member somewhere maybe over here.
Sorry, how did you find it under W?
See here we have this, the path on which it has
Oh
been
yeah, the
created.
path. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Okay.
So it starts with W, so it's come under W.
So home groups W, then
Mhm.
some random name, number, name. Yeah. Now, as of now, this user has been created, this group has been created. The only thing left is to assign the privileges so that this user can work or can log in by its own. So here, if I go and assign the privileges, let me say it has all the privileges like slash content, okay, on all the whole content hierarchy and the permissions is all. So you can either give specific permissions like some read permission, okay, read permission on this hierarchy. So it will only have the read permissions. Or if you want to do some modify permissions, then okay, these are the modify properties or anything. So if you want to give all the permissions, then just write all. Okay, on this node, I wanted to give all the permissions and just add it. The same way, if you want to give some other permission like on simple apps hierarchy, can I give? Okay, no, on this on add. Okay. So I gave the permissions over here. Let me just give it on slash apps as well. Okay. So this way, what I did is I gave these many permissions to the sample group, and automatically the child user of this group, that is the sample user, will automatically inherit all those permissions. So if I am over here, if I log out, okay, and then if I try to log in back again, and it was sample user, and I give it a password as sample, and let me see if I'm able to, okay. Somewhere permissions are still not fully assigned. Let me just see. Now if I go back over here, the security, the permissions. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's do it in an easy way. Let me again go back to security and let me make it a child of admin. So here, if I search administrator, okay, where is the administrator?
Yeah.
Here we have, yeah. And it has some members. Let me make sample group also as the child of this.
So it will get all the privileges of administrator.
Yes, it will get all the privileges. And now if I will log out from here, sign out, and now again sign in, sample user and sample. I think I missed the password. What was the password? Sample user and sample. Yeah. Okay, so I'm now able to log in. You can see I'm able to log in as the sample user where the name, first name and last name is sample. Okay, pretty simple. You can create the users. Also, So this is a manual way of creating the users, but with AEM, you can also integrate with LDAP like Active Directories, that is LDAP, or other Active Directory like Azure or other thing. Through that way, the users and group will automatically get synced into AEM.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is another way. See, this is of course a way, but it's a manual way. And for knowing purpose, it is necessary how would you create it. But there is an automated way where you can integrate. If your company manages some Active Directory, then you can even integrate your AEM with that Active Directory.
Okay. Can I ask you one thing? There is this link that is like after the localhost 4502 dash user admin. So that's the same thing, right? With this one that you just showed.
Exactly.
Oh,
Okay. So let me also tell you about that. That is actually classic UI. So see, I tell you the history of that a bit, and then we'll show you that thing, that user admin as well. So here, these all where we are working, these are all touch UI screens. We call it as touch UI. Earlier, prior to 6.0, when it was Days company which was handling it, there were other set of screens through which you perform all these functionalities. Like here we have this welcome, not welcomer, but only welcome. So this welcome screen, like we have this screen in the same way in classic UI. This is a classic UI. Like we have many tools like Salesforce also has a classic. It's simple. It's the difference in the UI. Rest all is same. All the things that you can do with touch UI, you can do it with all the things that you can do with the classic UI, you can do with touch UI. But some of the things that you can do with touch UI, you cannot do with classic UI. This is because prior to 6.0, it was all classic UI. So all the new features, all the new functionalities were being introduced in the classic UI. But the main issue with classic UI was that authors and CM team could not use the classic UI on their mobiles and on their iPads, tablets. It cannot be, they cannot author the things over there. So to overcome that problem, AEM comes up with the touch UI screens. And with touch UI, all the newer features, like here you can see experience fragment is a newer feature that was introduced after 6.0. So this new feature experience fragment was only brought inside touch UI and was never ever a part of classic UI. So see, websites where again you see all your pages, digital assets is this damn assets.
yeah.
Sites is this. Similarly, users, you can see users. If I go on user, you can see user admin. So all the screens are same, but every new feature that AEM is bringing is inside the touch.
UI.
Classic UI is not being used. So here you see, here I have an inbox. Any operation that is being performed, in case if you have to be notified, then those informations come as part of this inbox. So here you can see this is view. If I do click on this bell icon, and if I like here inside this, here you can see it gave me my mailbox, an AEM mailbox. And the same mailbox can be accessed over here, inbox, and here also you will be able to see all those things. So here we have how many? 4. And here also you can see all the same. It's just the look and feel is different and it's deprecated.
Got it.
Actually, till 6.5, we can even open these screens, but on Adobe as a cloud, we cannot even open the classic UI screens. They have totally deprecated it.
For me, it's bad because I get used to the classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know
Actually, the
why.
people, like for me also, like I am more fond of classic and more used to, but now it's an history. Now it's history and not being used or not being preferred well. Actually, Adobe don't even provide the support of these. Anything if fails,
Oh,
anything not working, they do not even provide the support. Even if you raise a ticket with them, they always say move to touch UI. We
that's
have stopped the support for these.
oh, okay. That's bad.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I have like sessions with our authors, so I want to like teach them some components how they need to configure it, and then for example I open the classic view and then they say, okay, what is this? And I will say, okay, let me open the other view, and then when they open that, I open that one, and they say, yeah, okay, we understand now.
But I would suggest you to start making your authors more familiar with TouchUI because any day they can totally remove it from any of their version.
Yeah, the authors use that one. Yeah, the authors use the other. Things.
The TouchUI one.
Yeah, that's actually.
Okay, then it's good. Then it's good. Then it's for you. You should start using.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, because see on Adobe as a cloud, it's you cannot even access this. Like this welcome screen, if you will hit it, it is not accessible. It give you a blank page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was about the classic UI and touch UI. Like everything that we have on touch, on classic we have it on touch, but everything on touch is not there on classic because all the newer features, every new thing is being brought inside the touch screens, not in the classic UI screens. Okay, like you have this users inbox tagging, everything would be over here as well. Like here you can see you have the tags.
Yeah, I always reach them with the UI. I mean the URL.
Yeah,
I think that's why we get used to.
yeah, exactly. Okay. Let's start. Any questions, any doubts till now you have?
Um, just one more thing. I just want to double confirm. So the thing that I asked you, that I think it will be called like service user.
Which, sorry, come again?
The one that you were explaining to me that for any modification on JCR,
Uh-huh.
yeah, so that kind of user that we create that services will use, we will call it like service user, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, exactly. So,
And the rest
let me,
is like a system user.
yes, yes. So let me just show it to you also. Inside CRX Explorer. Yeah. So here, if you go to this screen, CRX Explorer. So this is another screen. Here, if you go to user admin, and here you can create a user. When you start creating a user, see, here you start creating system user. So here you get the option of create user and create system user. So here it will not ask you for the password because system user are not to be logged in into the system. They are just so that you can use this user in your code, and you just assign the privileges to them, and they cannot be used to log in into your system. They can only be used within your code so that you can access your code with certain privileges, which all privileges these users have. Okay.
Okay, got it.
So
Yeah.
it's not that, yeah. So it's not that they have some user ID and password. It's just that they have a unique ID, that is user ID, and you assign privileges to them. Like let me create a system user, a sample system. Okay, and just let me save it. Okay. So yes, it's done. And if I close this, if I go to my this security again and users, okay, and again search for sample minus system. Here we have our system user. And if I open it over here, somewhere you can see it also get created below the home user system. And maybe yeah, you can change it. And if I, yeah, it's all like now it's a system user. And if you have to further give it some privileges, again, you can go to the, okay, just let me get back. Yeah, you can again go back to security and permissions and search for that user, and it's sample system. Yeah, so here you can see even the icon is different
Yeah.
because this is a system user. And now you can give,
It's like we're creating a user for the service.
yes, we are
Okay.
creating a user for our service.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Exactly.
I didn't know this one. Yeah. Until I got an error, and then I went and I read about it. It was so confusing, but then yeah, somehow I understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
So see, again, I tell you, mainly when we, okay, let me firstly show you.
I think they recently put this one, right?
No, it's
It's
very
been.
old thing.
Oh, okay.
Because see, prior to this, what we used to do is that on publisher, whenever a code is executed, and in that code, if we want to perform some modification or read operation, then always what we do is we get the privileges of administrator user and then we perform the functionality. Okay, that is not a good way because admin has all the privileges. So in that means we can do anything in our code, and anything can be done or anything can be deleted or could be done from our code. So that is, if some malicious user gets an access to our system, they can execute that code in a wrong way, and it could hamper or harm our system. So that is why instead of using the administrator user, we start using the system user and provide only that privileges where we want to perform some operation. Like consider if we want to perform some operation on the etc hierarchy as part of our code. So we will only give the permission to the etc, or maybe let's consider that some data is coming from an API and that data we want to store in the where hierarchy. Then that system user will only have an access to our where hierarchy and no other hierarchies.
Yeah. Okay.
Because by default, if we do not use or in our code, we do not say that, okay, work as system or this particular system user, then it will work as an anonymous user. So here we have this anonymous user. Yeah. See, here we have this anonymous user that is by default a part of our code base. And if I show you the privileges that it has very limited privileges. So, and you will see it won't have any write permissions. So if I go over here, and so you can see it does not even have any privileges actually.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the thing. That is why we create system user. Assign that only privileges where we want to perform some operation, and using that system user, we execute a code. Okay.
Okay.
So while performing some read modification or deletion operation, we actually firstly get the session of our system user, and using that session, we then perform the operations. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And then how we map this one inside the inside system console. So we need to map this one, right?
Exactly. So actually, what happens is we create a system user, but we have to tell where all or which all in which all code base we can use that system user. So what we do is we do a mapping of our package to that system user. That okay, this is the package, like the whole package, or maybe like your initial package name, and then is equal to system user. Let me just show it to you one. So that way, it actually we tell that okay, within this package only we can use the system user. So it's not that everywhere that the system user can be used, but within the limited packages. So if I go to system console, oh, okay, since I'm not an administrator because I logged in as a sample user,
Oh,
that is why I can't.
I don't have it.
Yeah. So this system console is can only be logged in by the admin user. So let me log in with the admin. Okay, there is some issue. I don't know. And let me log in with admin. Okay, and let me refresh it over here. And here you can search the configuration. I hope you already know about OSGi configurations. Maybe. I hope. Yeah. So here we have our user mapping. Mapping. So here you can see all the out of box mapping. So here you can see one of the mapping, like this is the mapping which says that this is the package where this is the system user that can be used, and this is the name which you should use in your code to refer the system user. Okay, like if I open this, so see, sub-service name and then username, principal name, our bundle ID. So see, this is the package name. It says that this is the package within which you can use this system user, and then this is the actual system user. So if I search this system, this over here, then I should find, yeah. Not this, sorry. Is this the name of the system user?
I think yeah, it's that one.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the actual name, and this is the name that we can use in our code base to refer the system user. This is like this. In the code base to refer the system user.
Service name, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This is the sub-service name. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how we do. So this ranking is being used in case if there is a same, like this package is being referred over there, or consider there is another configuration where the mapping is like till this path. Okay, so both will get matched because this is also the package that will get matched, and this till core will also get matched. So rest depends upon the ranking, which one will have the higher ranking, they will get the preference.